There are only 3 phases of Formworks, 4 beams. Check how they are estimated here in quantity surveying. The problem includes the ground beam plan of a certain project. We estimate the formworks using MDF boards and 2x2 rough lumber. From the beam schedule, it is observed that the beam size is 200 by 250 mm, with a column size of 0.4 by 0.4 meters. Before solving boards and studs, we have to clarify the clear spans for each beam, as the formworks for the intersection would be easier to estimate under columns. Having dimensions taken on centers and column width of 0.4 meter, the clear span for the 3 meter length is 2.6. From the 3.5 is 3.1, and from 4.5 is 4.1 meter. So even if there are a number of beams in the framework, we would only be solving 3 spans. For the board forms, we use the cross-section where the width is 200 mm and depth is 250. Estimating the side forms, we only have to use the beam depth, so we can say 2 pieces of 0.25 meter width by 2.6 meter length when we consider the first length. For the bottom form, the width is then 0.2 plus twice of 2.5 inches, which gives 0.25 meter. The top form is then 1 piece of 0.25 by 2.6 meter. Notice that the size of side forms is the same with the bottom form, which means we are to consider 3 pieces of 0.25 by 2.6 meters for that specific span. And we have 4 beams. By analogy, we can also deduce that there will also be 3 pieces of 0.25 by 3.1 meters, also 4 beams. Then another 3 pieces of 0.25 by 4.1 meter, which have 5 beams from the beam plan. Summarize the board sizes in order to arrange them for the cutting list. First is the 4 beams of 3 pieces, making 12 pieces of 0.25 by 2.6 meter. This span can be cut into 2.4 and 0.2 meter. The next length is 3 pieces times 4 beams, or another 12 pieces of 0.25 by 3.1 meters. We cut this length using the full length of 2.4 with 0.7 meters. The last size is 3 pieces by 5 beams, or 15 pieces of 0.25 by 4.1 meters. These can be cut using 2.4 again and 1.7 meter combination. Let us now cut the MDF boards according to the form sizes. For the 2 meter length, we cut widths of 0.25 meters, making 4 pieces. Having 3 MDF boards to make 12 pieces with the excess of 0.2 meter width. The excess will be used for the 12 pieces of 0.25 by 0.2 meter small forms. For the next batch, take a board and cut 4 pieces of 0.25 meter width again, leaving 0.2 meter at the end. We use 3 boards to account for the 12 pieces. Then, for the 0.7 meter length, use another board and cut 0.25 meter width. We can take 9 pieces, leaving an excess of 0.15 meter. The remaining cut of 0.5 meter width will be used for the 3 remaining pieces. For the third length, we cut the board with 4 pieces of 0.25 meter. And since we need 15 pieces, we are to use 4 boards with 0.2 meter excess. For the other length of 1.7 meters, we take a board and cut it into 4 pieces again. We would have to use 4 MDF boards to account for the 15 pieces. So by direct counting, the total number of boards is 15 pieces. After the boards, we estimate the framing. This time, we can rearrange the forms into the cut lengths of the board. Since there are 2.4 lengths on each batch, we can take the summation of 12, another 12, and 15 or 39 pieces of 0.25 by 2.4 meters. Then 12 pieces of 0.2 meter length, 12 pieces of 0.7 length, then 15 pieces of 0.25 by 1.7 meters. Let's start with the 2.4 meter length. The top and bottom studs are 0.25 meter. Then the vertical studs have length of 2.4 minus 2 of 0.05 or 2.3 meters. The total stud length for the form is 2 times of 0.25 plus 3 times 2.30, giving 7.4 meters. We are to have 39 forms, so the total stud length is 39 times 7.4, resulting to 288.6 meters. For the 12 pieces of 0.25 by 0.2, the form will have a top and bottom stud of 0.25 meter length. Then the vertical studs are 0.2 minus twice of 2 inches, which gives 0.1 meter. For each form, the stud length is 2 times of 0.25 meter plus 3 times of 0.1, and that is 0.8 meter. 12 pieces of form is then 9.6 meters. Next is the form with 0.7 meter length. The top and bottom studs have a width of 0.25 meter. The longitudinal stud's width is 0.7 less twice of 2 inches, and that gives 0.6. The stud length of one form is 2 times 0.25 meter plus 3 times 0.6 m, which is equal to 2.30. The total length is 12 of 2.30, which gives 27.6 meters. The last length is 1.7 meters. The form has top and bottom studs of 0.25 meters. Then the vertical studs have 1.7 minus 2 times of 0.05, which gives 1.6 meters. So the length of stud for one form is twice of 0.25 plus thrice of 1.6, making 5.3. The total stud length is 15 times 5.3 meters, giving 79.5. Take the summation of all stud lengths, where from the 2.4 span, we have 288.6 meters, 9.6 from 0.2 form, 27.6 meters from the 0.7 span, then 79.5 for the 1.7 length. The summation is 405.3 meters, which we convert into feet and have 1,329.39 feet. Take the board feet by multiplying this by 2 inches lumber width and 2 inches depth, resulting to 443.128, rounded to 444 board feet. Also, don't forget that the total number of board is 15 pieces of 4 by 8 MDF with thickness of half an inch.